I'm Mich Atagana, and this is Venture Talk on the Road. Today we have Andrea Böhmert with us from Knife Capital, and we're going to chat about accelerators and incubators in South Africa and their roles for the startup community. Great, Andrea, welcome to the show.
Welcome to our river.
Awesome. So now you guys have just launched your accelerator program, Grindstone, for post-revenue accelerators.
Yes.
And there are quite a few accelerators popping up here and there around the country for startups. Now this could be seen as a great thing for startups and a way for them to help fast-track their businesses and expand into other markets. Another angle is you look at the incubator programs that are out there and a way to help entrepreneurs with great ideas. Just tell me, what are your thoughts on accelerator programs for a startup community like South Africa?
I think, first of all, you need to really go and differentiate between incubators and accelerators. And I think both are great, both are needed, but they serve totally different communities and different purposes. So, yes, there are a lot of incubators kind of coming out simply because South Africa has recognized we need more entrepreneurs, we need more job creation, and it's more the kind of young companies that actually go and start delivering that. So, there's a lot of emphasis on getting more people to go and start their own business. And starting your own business can be a very, very lonely thing if you do that from your own kind of garage or something like this. So it makes sense to kind of go and join a community of other entrepreneurs, go and be in the same kind of space, have certain mentoring, have certain access to shared services. It's a cost issue as well as a mentoring issue and a community issue. So it's great that those kind of things exist, and we need more of them, and they need to be sometimes a bit more structured, but that's great. Okay. The issue is, it's normally an incubator program is normally something between 6 and 9 months. Now, the companies that graduate from an incubator program normally have a solid business plan, a proof of concept, they're lucky, first customer. Right. And then they get kicked out, they graduate from the incubator program. And then what?
Then what? Tell us what now.
And then what? And I think that is where we have a problem, particularly with those incubators who are using media very, very efficiently, which is brilliant and fantastic. The problem is now that there is so much limelight on those companies. So they have just passed through the following kind of big, great, fantastic incubator program. So everybody now expects that they actually can be a success story. But they have just kind of started to function. They are still babies.
Okay.
And I think there is an expectation mismatch. The community, everybody expects them to be a full sustainable business. And I think even the entrepreneurs themselves, because they got so much hype, they felt so nice and comfortable in this incubator. They kind of think, we've made it, it's done. And then reality kind of hits you.
Okay, well, what do they do then? I mean, is it a case of jumping from one thing to another? Now they're done with the incubator, should they now move to an accelerator to help them to the next level? I mean, what is the next level for these companies? Because there's so many of them out there now. What do they do?
Well, I think for a lot of them, that's the problem. What do? They should either by now have a sustainable business model, which means that now they start trading. They have customers, the customers pay their bills, that's how they can go and operate. However, I think that is theory. I mean, it just doesn't happen. So then those companies then quite often try to desperately join the next program. So you have certain startups or companies that move from program to program to program. And yes, they get kind of free rent, they get always free mentoring, but to some extent, they never have to grow up. They never have to, I always kind of take this as the little babies learn to crawl, and there's always somebody holding their hand. They actually are never forced to really go and start learning to walk on their own. And maybe they never will. So then, of course, there are those that really have something interesting. Maybe have also a little bit more experienced entrepreneurs. And they then need to go and find the support structures to go and do this. And part of the support structure, of course, has to do with funding. So if they're able to actually go and raise for some capital, quite often family, fools, friends, maybe kind of initial angel funding, then they actually can now go without being able to go and have enough revenue. They can start hiring 1 or 2 people, they can do some marketing, they can do some business development, and therefore slowly get onto the road of becoming a sustainable business. Others fail. I think that is one of the big problems that we've got, is that when you really look at the South African landscape, or Cape Town landscape, for example, of companies. I mean, if you look at the last Silicon Cape survey, I think it is quite shocking that I think about 60% of all the companies that are registered there have less than 5 employees. If you look at it, 80% of them do less than 5 million rand turnover. So we have a lot of businesses here who are surviving. They are just kind of there.
They're
And I
not-
think the big challenge is how do we get them to the next level?
So you're saying their company's surviving, but they're not companies being successful. They're surviving, but they're not successful.
They pay the bill.
They pay the rent, okay.
They pay the rent for,
All right,
for,
okay,
kind of,
okay.
for someone, which is better than nothing. But what South Africa needs, what we are all looking for,
Job creation.
is the job creation and the success stories.
Okay, so let me just pull you back here now. Okay, great. So incubators, accelerators, great for at some point. At some point, you got to grow up and move on. But also, it's about what do you take out of there. Okay, so let's look at most incubators. They give you office space, which says rent is cheap. You don't have to worry about stuff like that. But also, there's also the amount of peer competition and peer pressure around that. So you have a company, you have a great idea, you know the strategy, and you've got all these mentors telling you exactly what to do. Can you suffer from such a thing as too much advice and too much competition around you?
In life, everything that's too much is bad.
Okay.
So yes, you can have too much distraction, too much advice, too much different advice, particularly. Too much competition, yeah, sure. I mean, I personally think that the competition that should be within an incubator environment should more be a little bit of a, look, they're actually already having a customer, I don't, so I better kind of go and get going. So I think a healthy dose of competition is good. We kind of all need that. Same comes a healthy dose of mentorship and advice. It's actually great and fantastic. I think particularly young companies, young entrepreneurs need it. The problem is if you have 5 different advisors, the one tells you focus on technology, the other one tells you focus on finance, the next one tells you no, it's all about sales and marketing.
Yeah.
Now, if you as an entrepreneur don't have a clear vision of what your business is, you start kind of
Going all over the place, yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you will kind of go and get it wrong.
Yeah.
So I think you rather go and find the one advisor that you really, really kind of like and trust,
Yeah.
and go with that person. I'm not saying don't listen to any others. I think, but you need to go and make an informed choice. I mean,
Yeah.
what is it that's currently the most important thing for me? And yeah, if you choose the wrong one, sure, there is an
Okay.
issue.
So, I mean, I think there's a lot of interesting things around there, What is your advice? Just give us your 60 seconds advice to startups that are thinking of going into a program.
Once again, you ask for startups. Okay,
Or whatever, do businesses, how's that? Businesses that want to go into some sort of program, post-revenue, pre-revenue.
you need to understand what you need.
Okay.
Is it that you are too lonely? So is it community that you need? Is it that you need shared services because you don't have a printer, you don't have the right kind of Wi-Fi network, so you want this? Is it access to network? Is it access to funding? What is it actually that you, or do you say, I've got nothing, I just need help in everything? I think entrepreneurs need to do a little bit more of a self-assessment. What exactly are their needs? And then don't just go and jump onto the next program that kind of opens up and try to desperately kind of go in. Find out if what they offer actually matches with what you need.
Okay.
So if they don't offer any kind of access to networks, for example, but if just a nice co-working kind of environment, but then don't go, then don't join it. If that is not what you are looking for,
Then
I think, you need to go and do your homework.
All right. Actually, you mentioned something funding. So now there's some accelerator programs, incubator programs that give, after the 6 to 9 months that you're in the program, they give you something, especially in Africa, something like say 25 to 30,000 rand dollars worth of investment, and for that they take something ridiculous like 25 to 30%. I mean, that just seems like a lot of equity in a company for such a small amount.
Well, for that amount, that definitely, I mean, I would agree. I think if you look at the stats,
I mean, what amounts is good for? I mean, if you're taking 25% of my company, I'm giving you 2% of the company. I don't know. I feel that seems like a fair amount to give you, but I'm not an investor.
I think the answer lies somewhere kind of in between. If you still have just an idea, or a little bit more than an idea, and somebody gives you $30,000, then he or she takes actually quite a significant risk, because all you've got is
an idea. Okay.
So I personally think something between 5 and 15%, depending on what more they give you other than just money, is kind of appropriate. And you will see globally that's the kind of range between 5 and 15. 25, 30, I personally believe is a little bit on the steeper. However, nobody forces you to accept it. So
That's true.
nobody forces you to accept it. I really think entrepreneurs, however, need to fully understand if it's only money that they need.
Yeah.
I think they might be misjudging what they really require. And I think if you go and have the right investor that actually can open the 2 or 3 critical doors for you, I mean, you might actually get so much more benefit from having access to this and to his knowledge and network. You will forget about the money at the end. I mean, the money is then just an enabler to kind of go and actually pay.
It's like a means to an end. Okay, that's cool.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Andrea. It's been lovely chat about accelerators and startups.
You were so unpredictably kind today.
Oh, really? Yeah. We'll see you next time. All right, thank you guys so much for joining us on Venture Talk on the Road, and we will see you next time.